Welcome in. Let's check out some records. Yeah, I was hoping to do these videos the previous style with just voiceover and then some photos, which kind of suited me better. But there's no way that I could show you this unsealing of a 1964 sealed record. This is archive production, which is the history of music division of the Deutsche Grammophon label. And 1964, it is mono, but it was probably recorded before that. It was probably recorded around 54 or 55, and it will say actually on the disc once we get into that. And these archive productions, the older ones have an inspection stamp, which is really cool. So somebody sealed off on the, or signed off on the technical and the performance. And here's the little, this is it for the seal. It's just a tab here. Definitely sealed. I can see it has a, well, we'll get into that. Yeah, so it looks great. Doesn't look like it's been bent or any water damage. A little bit coming off here. It has this sort of manila, what material, like a really thick tape, which I haven't, yeah, it's not on all of them. I do have high hopes for this disc because other monos that I've heard on archive, these older ones, they sound really good. Really clean vinyl, really well recorded. So yeah, let's check it out. Okay, let's crack it open and then I'll take a listen. I should have brought scissors, but anyway, let's rip it. Yep, there it is. Cool. I hope it's not stuck on too heavily with this plastic. Oh, smells chemically. Yeah, there's a chemical smell to it. Yeah, it says date of recording 1953 and also 1951. So mono. Oh, it's a bit stuck. I hope it didn't leave any smears. Oh, of course, the disc is beautiful. It's nice and heavy disc. I wouldn't say 180, maybe 180, 170, 160. Not quite 180. Very nice. Yeah. Okay, I'm pumped. And it has the really silvery label for archive. And there's an E on it. I forgot the lineage. Archive dropped the E at some point. Okay, I will be back. Let me check this out. Okay, I'm back. And I forgot, I might have actually not said that it's actually Tellman. And it's the German Pre-Classics, Series A. Stage 11 research period. Quite good. The track 2, there's 4 tracks, and track 2 on each side is incredible. Track 1, for whatever reason, it sounds a bit like the high end doesn't sound correct. It sounds too forced a little bit, like it's just a bit, I think actually the recording venue maybe. Really good. There's more noise than I would like, and I have other monos from this set, or this series, that I think are a little cleaner, so I'm wondering if maybe it needs a deep clean. I did notice a tiny bit of, just a little bit of mono. It just sounds so good, which is incredible for a 1951 recording. Hot, very good, very good. And also these archives come with the whole. It's cool. They come with oh, sometimes they fold out. You know, like the actual technical details on everything, the type of, the soloists, the edition, the date of record, like it's cool. You can get right into it. So overall, quite good, very good. The noise was a little disconcerting, just like staticky, poppy, a little bit, not huge pops and cracks, but just more than I would like, and more than I'm actually used to for these archives. And I bought used ones that sound a bit cleaner, so it needs a deep clean, I guess, right out of production. But definitely these archive monos, or I wouldn't shy away from them because they're mono. There's some really good stuff here. Although, yeah, they're not huge contemplative big symphonies. They're usually small as chamber, and they're using period instruments, so a little bit, reedy and warbly a little. But once you sort of accept that and get into it, it's nice to listen to kind of get like an authentic kind of feel, or as much as they could get an authentic, like how it actually would sound in the 1700s in a chamber, or like a sitting. So very cool. Next up for the sealed records or sealed openings, we have this. It's a Deutsche Grammophon Music Fest. Zardas. There's Sardas. Hungarian melodies by Liszt, Brahms, Strauss, and Berlioz. And these music fests are they're good recordings, or good pressings, I should say. And they're all like reissues. They're usually light stuff. Like, you'll see some that have titles like, I don't know, music for Sunday afternoon and stuff like that. But they're all like Carry On, Kublick. Like they're always, the great conductors of Deutsche Grammophon repressed on vinyl that's very quiet. And they have the black label with a small, you'll see, with a small logo on it. So, and I find them to be very, very good, very articulate. Most of them very detailed, but a little bit too high end, a little bit of the wacky kind of Deutsche Grammophon feel to them, sort of that German late 70s kind of, where they just feel a bit off somehow. It's hard to put your finger on exactly what it is, but it's something in the highs. So anyway, let's open it up. It's, yeah, okay, crack it. So yeah, there's a little hole here, but it's sealed. It's not graceful. A little bit of bend. Beautiful cover. Very cool. Yeah. So got the black with the small Deutsche Grammophon. Looks beautiful. So the recordings on here are 1961, 1960, 1976, and 66. A lot of Carry On. Sorry, I have problems with pronouncing his name, but Fernick Friske. Great conductor. Lauren Mazel is on here as well. I actually have a couple references for the Purple Tulip versions of these, so I'll check those. Okay, I shall return. Okay, I'm back. As usual, that took quite a while. A great disc, though. Really detailed. Dead quiet vinyl. Absolutely quiet. Like, you can hear the tape come in when it comes in, which is a great sign. Very detailed, very open. There's a great presence to it. Very clean, like a great repressing for all of these pieces on here. But there is a tiny bit in the high end. Yeah, it's like the way a little bit shouty in the big moments, where it doesn't need to be. And I did a direct comparison. So on here, we got Franz Liszt, Hungarian Fantasy for piano and orchestra, Shura Cherkassky, Berlin Philharmonic, Herbert von Karajan. So that's side one, track one. I have the original, which I can't find any earlier. It doesn't look like an original, but I can't find an earlier version of this. I think it might be. It doesn't seem like it would be, but I really, on Discogs, I can't find an earlier version of it. It's 61 recording. It says right on here it's a 61. This is a 61, so it's the Privilege series. I've had incredible luck with the Privilege series. Purple Tulip, they sound warm, clean, great. So a German pressing, Purple Tulip, as you know. So that, side one on here is the exact same as side one, track one on here. They're both really good. The Music Fest is more detailed, cleaner, quieter. The Privilege series, Purple Tulip, a little more organic feeling. It is a little more laid back in a good way. So even, of course, you're dealing with a 1961 pressing, you're going to get a little bit of noise, a little bit of pops and clicks. But overall, the overall feeling, I think, is a bit better here. It just doesn't have that little hit of high end somewhere. I don't know where, maybe 5,000 hertz or somewhere. It feels like somebody just took the EQ and just like cranked it a bit on this one. But they're still both incredibly enjoyable. And I mean, you can find these. This is, I don't know what the date, I can't get a date on the pressing, but I would say it's probably 1980, maybe late 70s. Really good. And then another direct comparison is another Purple Tulip Carry On with Berlin. So this is the original, as far as I can tell. It seems like there is one with the red stereo here. I don't feel like it's earlier though. And that, what we were comparing there was the Brahms, Hungarian Dance number 3, and number 5. same kind of feel, but I'd almost give it, for pleasurable listen, they're both really good. Different. This is higher end, it has more in the high spectrum. This one's a little more laid back. I guess probably what would happen is it's the difference between, I don't know if they had tube cutter heads, but that could have been what it is that makes this one a little softer, but not any more detailed. You can actually hear a little more of the music, the instruments, the separation better here on this Music Fest. So yeah, obviously this one would be more valuable, more collectible for sure. And yeah, if I only had one, I wouldn't really complain with either, but probably I would want the Purple Tulip. But for a repressing, really good, really clean. But this is an exemplary one for this series. All of them are super clean and quiet that I have, and I've had incredible luck with finding really clean ones. But some of them do have too much high end, and this one, it's got a bit too much, but it's good. Let's open another sealed record. Why not? Let's go for it. That's what we're here to do. This one is a strange one. I couldn't find information for some reason for a long time, but it's James Galloway plays Mozart with Marissa Robles getting wild on the harp, Chamber Orchestra of Europe. So it's a double disc. Honestly, it looks like it's bootlegged. I've never seen a cover this horrible on almost any disc, especially in classical. It just looks awful. It looks like a photo that was blown up and digitally printed. You can see the halftone in it, but it's weird. And not much info at all. It is a 1984 and 85 recording, so it might be digital. It could be. It's recorded at CBS Studios in London. Galloway on RCA. He's done a lot of recordings on RCA. He's really good on the flute, absolutely. And his recordings are usually fairly natural sounding. I've played some ones that actually feel quite good, especially when listening with actual speakers and not headphone. So I've had it for a while. I kind of always wanted to crack it and didn't really have the occasion, but now I'm here with you guys. Let's do it. Let's go into it. So it's a Red Seal. I'm expecting it to be actually, let's find out. It'll probably be like what I call the right side nipper, where anyway, let's just find out. Let's just get into it here. I hope it's rolling. I'm going to check if it's rolling. Hold on. Yeah, it is rolling. That would suck if I forgot to put that on. But anyway, yeah, so let's go in. Let me do it gracefully. Okay. Two records just jammed in there. Okay. Oh, no, it's just a straight up Red Seal. 1988 is the pressing. Oh. It smells like He-Man, Castle Grayskull, when they have the, they pour down the slime, that slime that you get. I don't know, that's a really strange reference, but I haven't smelled that smell in a long time. Okay. Obviously it's mint. I don't need to check that. I just have to listen to it. But anyhow, it is the just Red Seal RCA. Okay, we're back. Really good recording, excellent performance. I do hear digital. I think it's digital. You can just tell in the strings. It's gotta be. And, even you could say, CBS Studios, 1984, yeah, classical music. They're going to record it digitally. One thing I did notice, though, a big positive for this, because before this, actually, I've listened to a lot of RCA's Red Seal, because I kind of wanted to do a little deep dive into Red Seals. It seems to handle the big parts really well. And that might actually be because of the digital, because they probably used a digital delay when they were cutting it, like electronic digital delay, so that it could tell when the big parts were coming and automatically add more space to the grooves. That's kind of what I think probably happened here, because it doesn't seem to lack in any way as far as being able to reveal all of the dynamics on the disc. So great effort. I wish it was on tape, but really good, actually, surprisingly good for the cover. So bad. Anyhow, really great. So, and what I wanted to talk about was Red Seal, because they do have a terrible reputation for the Red Seal labels, and in most cases, rightly so. So let me go into a couple RCAs here as a reference point. So we've got Scheherazade, Fritz Reiner, Chicago Symphony Orchestra. This is classic. You probably know it. So there's an original American pressing, US pressing. I think it's a 1S. I'll check that. But it sounds unbelievably good. It handles all the big parts, and it's a big piece. Yeah, it doesn't lack anything, really. I mean, of course, there's a bit of noise. There's a bit of pops and cracks. It's not a modern audiophile pressing, but it certainly is an audiophile pressing from, was it 1960, I think? 58? 60? 1960. It's like out of this world for that. And of course, there's repressings of it too that are really good too, and probably even better than the original. So that's this is like a benchmark, and this is I should mention. Sorry, I'm just getting ahead of myself here. It's a shaded dog, right? So this one, the shade isn't very light. You see some with a darker shade, but Nipper is there with the shaded background, and he's looking into the gramophone. So highly desirable, obviously, living stereo, right? And it says up here on top, living stereo, and a lot of them have the miracle surface. So this is a high watermark, absolutely. Something to aspire to. And a lot of, pretty much all Red Seals don't, but I'll get into why and what we can do about it. So here is a repressing, Offenbach Gate Parisienne. You've probably seen it, and it's huge. It's a big piece. I mean, it's a fluffy piece. It's not like a contemplative, deep piece, but the dynamics on it and the playing, the performance is just unbelievable, and it'll just make your system sound amazing, even if it doesn't at the moment, because it's just so big, and it's a 1958 original recording. Now this is a Classic Records reissue, 1994. So this is their second of the series that they started, and they basically, Classic Records is unbelievable. They're like 1993, 94. People were literally just throwing away and throwing down their vinyl so that they could run quicker into the cold embrace of digital. And Mike Hobson, Ming Tang, they just said no. They stood up and they said no, like a beacon of light in a binary haunted world. No one was buying records, and they wanted to do it. They guaranteed $200,000 in 1993 to RCA to release 20 LSC records. They wanted to do it from the masters and have the original artwork. What a gamble. They're crazy. And it paid off. People wanted it. I mean, it sounds incredible. The dynamics, it just goes. And there's just more. And you're like, well, it can't go any louder. And it does. It just, surprises it. One thing I like about these too, I don't know if you could see it. Maybe I'll zoom in on it. On the back, what a bunch of mad lads. On the back, they have Classic Records, and they have a 1-800 number. 1-800-4LSC-LPS. Come on. That's awesome. That's so cool. If someone's having a little withdrawal session, I'm like, I need my living stereo. Call 1-800-4LSC-LPS, for LSC. And, these original RCAs are LSC. That's why they put that in their 1-800 number. So incredible disc to listen to, as far as what can be put down on a record. 1994 repressing. So I have one more here that is, I know it's not classical, but I wanted to put it in as an example. This is Kogi Grant. Granted, it's Kogi, which is also a 1960 recording. Now this is a 1982 repressing, a German repressing. Let me show you. I didn't show the actual disc on this Gate Parisienne, but it doesn't have the dog. It's got this style. Sorry, going backwards in time here. Sorry, so onward to the Kogi Grant. So a German repressing, 1982. And it does say on here that the reissue was produced by Lee Simmons. I couldn't find any info on him or her. So this one has black label. which is more like pop for RCA. So this is, it is kind of jazzy pop. But the reason why I'm saying is because it's so incredibly loud. It's well done and very dynamic, but I think it actually clips in some parts. But this is one of the loudest discs I actually own. Like it's crazy how loud it is, and how much dynamics are on there. Now on the softer songs, it sounds really good, but on some of the higher ones, like I can hear clipping, and I don't know if that's on the tape, or it's actually the way they cut it. If they just cut it a bit too hot. So, but a lot of sound, a lot of dynamics on this one. Then, okay. So here's one which, I saw it in the bins or on the shelf, and it's like, yes, I want this. This is great. It's an LSC. I don't know the LSC number, but it's a living stereo shaded dog. Great. I have it. The list. I love list. So then pull it open. Like, what? Reds, and it already feels floppy even when you pull it out. It's a Red Seal. Like, come on. Oh no, what happened? They reissued the shaded dogs later on. They used the same cover, but it's not a shaded dog. This should be a shaded dog. And it's a US pressing. Some of them say made from the Masters. This one doesn't. It just says made in USA. No. It's almost got that Dynaflexy feel. And it doesn't hold the music properly. It doesn't say on here Dynagroove, but I think it is probably Dynagroove, or at least the dynamics part, like where the compression and equalization, because on the big parts, like it sounds okay on the soft parts, but as soon as you get into like what's called like the tutti, when the whole orchestra is playing, it just like, it sounds like somebody just, put a pillow over the whole thing and then hit you with the pillow. It's just like, where's the impact? No impact. Decently balanced, but they just couldn't fit it onto the disc, and it's because probably they use crappy vinyl. That's the only thing I can think of as to, it's so floppy and probably recycled. It was oil crisis happening at the time. Yeah, such a shame, such a tease. It was 1960, but it's not there. Okay, another one too, and this one broke my heart because I have it on CD and it's a great piece. Hovannes, Mysterious Mountain. It also has Stravinsky, Divertimento from The Fairy's Kiss. This is Chicago Symphony Orchestra with Fritz Reiner, which is really cool to be doing Hovannes. So if you don't know his work, it's sort of like mystical and ambient, and in some parts rhythmic. It's symphonic. He made a lot of symphonies, and a lot of them are kind of boring. And it's my opinion that he really just needed an editor, because his works are so long and they kind of just repeat and they meander, and then at the end of some of them it feels like he's like half asleep and still writing, and he's like, well, just put in a glockenspiel and a little bass drum roll and just keep going, and you're like, no, just cut it, because there's moments of genius in there, but it doesn't all come together. But Mysterious Mountain is a great piece. So when I saw this, I was so happy to find it and think, yes, it's going to be shaded dog. Pull it out. No, this again. Bamboozled. So yeah, it's a Red Seal, and it's just heartbreaking to listen to. I'd rather hear it on CD, because it starts out okay, and then as soon as the swell comes, there's a lot of cool swells with Hovannes, and it just falls apart, and it's just irritating and distractingly bad. Brutal. Anyway, so, but there's hope. There's hope out there for the Red Seals. Let's take a little look to England. So here, very suspicious cover. We see it's Red Seal, and it's RCA Victor Red Seal Dynagroove. Ooh, that's bad. But you may not know, or you may know, that actually I've read a couple times that in England they just ignored the Dynagroove part. They're like, we're not doing Dynagroove because it doesn't sound good. And they kept, they had to mandate, by mandate, they had to put the actual label on it, but they're not actually, they didn't use the same compression. And this one's pretty good. It's, so it's also a Red Seal. And I find that a lot of the English ones on Red Seal will have the white. I think pretty much all the ones, they have white down here that says manufactured from the master recordings. are the original masters or like a master of a master or a duplicate of a master, I'm not sure. But it's a shiny Red Seal, and it's pretty good. It's a little bit muted. It doesn't quite have the dynamics and the full package, but pretty good, listenable. I'm glad I have the disc. I mean, it's great. I've been slacking on what it actually is that we're listening to here. It's Rubinstein, Carlo Maria Giulini, okay, don't kill me, Schumann Piano Concerto, and in A minor, and also some novelettes. Quite good. A very nice listen. It's not going to knock your socks off, but it's for a Red Seal with Dynagroove on the front. Oh yeah, this is okay. This is a-okay. So another one from England. This one, it feels to be a bit later on. Oh yeah, obviously the difference. This still has the old school RCA with the lightning bolt on it. This just has Red Seal RCA. This looks like this is a 1971 pressing. Purcell, Te Deum, and Jubilee. Man That Is Born of a Woman. This is the Deller consort, so it's all singing. I just wanted to listen to it as a reference to like what's going on with Red Seals. Again, it's a British pressing, made in England. You will see on the bottom, same shiny, beautiful shiny label, and on the bottom it has the white writing. It says made in England. Good. Same thing. There's still something missing. Not quite there. Not the full package. The upper register feels a bit forced. And you do notice that with choir vocal type work, that it's sort of in beautiful vinyl, well done. It's glued together and it's separated beautifully. Where here it feels there's a bit of congestion in the top end on the choir bit, so that's evident. But not bad. It's not like throw the disc away. It's still a good listen. I'm hardly ever in the mood to hear this, to be honest, but okay. Now let's get into some good Red Seals, because they're out there. They are. And here's a couple. Eugene Ormandy, Philadelphia Orchestra. The Peer Gynt Suite, and also Sibelius Karelia. Really good. Now, this one is on the RCA Red Seals that I like, and I don't seek them out, but I have a bit of confidence in them. I call them the right side nipper. I don't know if they have a proper name, but the nipper is on the right side. It's a Red Seal. It has the light text on the RCA text on the top. They're dull red. There can be good stuff on here. Even in the orchestral stuff. It's like, this is good. It doesn't have full, it's not like the Offenbach. It's not going to hit you that way, but it's pretty darn good. A good listen. I'm glad I have the disc. I'd buy it again. It's well balanced, not huge impact, but because that's the reason why I keep bringing up impact, because that's the things that most Red Seals don't have, is any impact, and they have a weird high end. The high end isn't beautiful. It isn't super audiophile awesome, but it's not gonna dissuade me from buying it, especially if it's clean. All of these, I must add, are absolutely flawless. Like, you can't see anything. I'm gonna say mint. I'm not even gonna go with near mint, because there's no point. They really do not handle, with Red Seals, they don't handle any kind of rough wear and tear. If it looks like it's been heavily dusted or left on the turntable for like a month, then it's almost like a write-off. It's so hard to get that out because the vinyl isn't as good, so it's not as sturdy. So any kind of mishandling, or if it's spent any time without a case, like a proper inner sleeve, bad, and avoid. Here's another one with Levine Brahms, Symphony 3, Chicago Symphony Orchestra, produced by Thomas Z. Shepard. Interesting. This opened up Brahms 3 for me. It absolutely did. Really compelling performance. I don't feel like the disc itself is getting in the way, and this is also a right side nipper. Yeah. Oh, this one looks a little different, actually. The red is a little different, a little deeper red. Yeah. But great disc. Really good sound. Really good. And it doesn't break up that much either in the heavy parts. It has a good round sound, this one. Yeah, I really was zoning out to it. Really excellent. So, this is a good Red Seal. Here is an interesting recording. we have Franck, Symphony D, NBC Symphony Orchestra with Guido Cantelli. So Guido Cantelli was basically Toscanini's protege. He took over NBC. He did some great live performances and radio performances. Unfortunately, his life was cut short. Plane accident when he was only 36. And that was in 1956, so right at the dawn of stereo. So you probably won't see too many of his recordings out there, which is a shame because awesome. But strange note on this one. It says first stereo release. It came out in I think the first, I'll put it on the screen, but I think it first came out in 1956 as mono and nothing else, just mono. Then in 1978, first stereo, they released the stereo, and it says right on the back, guess when it was recorded? It was recorded April 6, 1954. This is one of the very first stereo recordings at all. Like I think it was actually Reiner's Also Sprach Zarathustra, I think, or was it the Reiner Sound? I think it was Zarathustra was the very first one, but that was in like February or March recorded in 54. So this is right after that. And I don't know, I was trying to think as to why it wasn't released on stereo then under a shaded dog. And I think it could have been that maybe he died and didn't sign off on the rights. And there was something about the actual rights to do it, because it doesn't sound like it's an amazing recording, which I should get to. It's a great recording, great performance. It sounds really good. And this is it's a strange one because this is kind of an original pressing Red Seal from 78 of a 1954 recording. So, you're not going to get an earlier pressing than this. This is it. This is the one. Very cool and incredible performance. The more I'm listening to it, it's like, I've never been a huge fan of the Franck Symphony D, but NBC and Cantelli, they lit it up. They made things right. It's really good. So this is a stellar Red Seal. So you can't just say all Red Seals are garbage. Not garbage. Awesome. Oh. And this is the original wrapper, which I'm kind of tempted to take off. I wonder if it's bending it. Sometimes you got to watch that. If it's really warping it, it might maybe warp the record. I don't think so. Okay. So here's one. I'll just rip through these ones. Manuel Ax, Mozart, Dallas Symphony Orchestra, Eduardo Mata conducting, Manuel Ax on piano. Really good. Performance. It does get let down. Another right side nipper. It feels like it's ambitious. The high end is ambitious. There's a lot of high end bloom, but it does break up a little. Not break up. It just feels like the EQ is a little off on the high end, but everything else is there, and a very spirited, excellent performance. So that's good. So here's the ones that up to recently, without these, like this changed things for me. The sound was amazing. And this Levine Brahms. Okay, here's another one here that's, small orchestra, small chamber, James Galloway, Kyung-Wha Chung, Bach Trio Sonatas. There's also harpsichord and cello continuo in it. So, it's small, it's contained. Personally, I feel like they recorded it a little wrong. James Galloway, like the flute is too high, and I can't hear Kyung-Wha Chung as much on the violin, which I want to hear. I want to hear them kind of equal. But it's good. A good performance and a good disc. Like, I don't feel like the disc is really holding back the music at all. This is Red Seal, just normal Red Seal. Pretty good. Not super fabulous, like lose your mind over it, but it's good though. It's good. And I'm not saying it's the disc that's holding this back. It was kind of I feel like they messed up the recording a little bit. And then we'll get another Galloway. Like, there's a lot of Galloway on Red Seal. He dominated the flute scene for RCA. So here's one here. Sonatas for flute and piano with James Galloway and Martha Argerich. Really nice, really pleasant. This is another right side one. Yeah, so it's just, you got two instruments. It sounds great. You can zone out to it. It's really good. Really good. Like, not, okay, if you played this and then you played I don't know, like a Harmonia Mundi or something, like a really recent one, it's going to lose out to that. But you're listening to it on its own and you're listening to other RCAs, it's quite good. Just 2 instruments, it's all good. Side note too, look at the cover. Like, there's no reality or timeline in which these two didn't hook up and make some beautiful music while creating this album. I'll say no more. I denounce and reject that statement. That was wrong. In comparison to, I got a Rampal Barbizet, same kind of deal, with the Franck sonatas for flute and piano. And this one, I was actually going to wait for a different time to review this one with it, but it's on an Odyssey and a Columbia Odyssey, orange. It sounds different. I would say a little tiny bit better than the Red Seal, but this one actually was kind of like an exemplary Odyssey that I found, and I singled it out, so it was good to go head to head. I would give it to the Odyssey, but I like this performance better. That's just me. Okay, we're getting there. Here's a good one. This is really good. Really good. Eugene Fodor, Paganini, and Mendelssohn. New Philharmonia Orchestra with Peter Mag. Really good. Really good. This is a really standout Red Seal. And it's not even the right side dog. It's just a normal, good old Red Seal. And it sounds great. Really great. I'd say the violin part in it, which is, Eugene Fodor playing violin, I'm going to say audiophile. We're there. It's crisp. It's present. It feels like it's right there in the center. Like you can hear him. He's there. You can feel the fret movements. Now, one thing I think is the orchestra does sound a bit muted and not quite enough dynamics and impact with the orchestra. And I can't really tell if that's the disc. I don't think it is, or it's actually just the way they recorded it with Eugene Fodor a little bit too front and center. So if the orchestra feels a bit recessed. It still sounds really, really good though. Really recommendable, this one. If you see it, I'd say this is a recommendation for sure. Really good. This is awesome. Really good Red Seal right here. Gorani Quartet, Borodin Quartet, and Dokiani Quartet, both number 2. Fantastic. We're there. We're close to being like, okay, this is really good now. Really, really good. Same deal. I'm not going to take it out. But that's the right side nipper. But yeah, really great recording. 1982. Sorry, I haven't been saying the dates on a lot of these, but usually they're all late 70s. Well, actually, pretty much all of them are late 70s. This is an 82. It sounds really, really good. Like, it's close. It's getting really close to, perfection. Not quite there, but for a Red Seal, all day. I like the cover too. Very cool looking cover. Look at that. On the B, very cool. So that's all the Red Seal. I had more, but it's just going to go too long. Okay, so where we're at with the Red Seals is I would personally try to avoid stuff that's been repressed from the earlier Living Stereos, the Shaded Dogs. They repress it onto Red Seal. Usually they sound quite terrible. If it's an original recording, which I honestly failed to mention, sorry about that. These are all, the last 6 are all original pressings. So that's it for the Red Seal for now anyway. And just switching it up a little bit for Analog Anorak in the comments. This is the Eric Kleber 5 that I had kind of lost. Found it again anyway. It's a Decca original pressing, UK pressing. It's incredible I found it in this shape, because some of them you find are beat up. This one is absolutely mint. Well, near mint, I'll say. But there's nothing on it. It is incredible. It sounds really good for a mono of this age. It's a little bit distant, a little bit. But once you get into it, it sort of dissolves. The deficits sort of dissolve away, because it is a really compelling performance. When I first was just spot checking it, I thought, I don't know about that performance. Those parts sound weird, but as a whole, that's not a fair way to judge a disc. But as I listened to the whole thing, side for side, really good, really cool. Also, just so you know, I took my own advice and got another one of these, which is the Archive of Piano Music on Everest. It's a humdinger. The performance, the disc itself. Oh, why don't I say what it is? It's Arthur Friedheim plays Liszt. If you don't know him, so he's doing a piano roll. He was born in 1859, so that's the kind of what we're dealing with here. This is really like old performance, or he came from another time. He knew Liszt. He studied under. He lived with Liszt. And he was renowned as an amazing Liszt player of his time. And here he is on stereo, like he did the piano roll probably in around between 1916 and 1925, and unbelievable. Like, it's wow. I'd seek it out even on digital. It's on the Orange. The sound is not that great. It's a bit plinky, and I think it might be that Art Duo piano player that it sounds dated. Which is a shame. The performance is just like a sparkling fountain of notes. Like, it's just the athleticism, the virtuosity of Arthur Friedheim is just incredible. Incredible player. So I'm very glad I have this disc. It's just it makes you think about Liszt's piano work in a different way. And then we've all heard it, but I mean, and he knew him. He knew the guy. He was friends with him. Okay, that wraps that up. Okay, so this section is a new section I will probably be doing on each video, which is called Out in the Weeds. So I'm going into smaller labels, things that I find that are not on the major labels, but hopefully we're seeking that audiophile, like we're trying to get it. So no budget stuff. This is all, decent stuff, hopefully. And to start it off, we'll start strong with Accent. Have you ever heard of that label? It's not a big label at all. I believe it's Belgian. Yes, it is Belgian. I'm quite sure. They did some great stuff. Really early period stuff on older instruments. I believe they're period instruments. And a lot of their stuff is actually like kind of flute and recorder stuff, which I kind of like have enough. But this one is late French viol music with Antoine Fourcret and Charles Dolay. Really good. Really good. A slightly big chamber, a big recording area. The miking is beautiful though. It's really detailed. Comes in a nice gatefold. It's a great pressing. Pull that out. Not heavy. Not a heavy pressing at all. It's sort of like on a yellowish label. Really good sound though. Really good. Small orchestra. We've only got 3 instruments, 2 violas and a harpsichord. And the sound is incredible. The performance, I think, is good. I've never heard anything by either of these composers before, Fourcret and Dolay. But it does, part of it, I don't know if it's the performance or the actual piece, but a little bit sleepy, I have to say, and kind of not that engaging, unfortunately. It's kind of, I have to say, a little bit sounds like background music sometimes, because it's not driving in anywhere, but it's very pleasant to listen to. Nice to just have on and just soak it up. So that's on Accent label out of Belgium. Very cool. Okay, we got one more here for Out in the Weeds section. This is H&H Records. They're out of Illinois. And a solid effort. Joseph Suk, Anton Dvorak with a New London Quintet. Okay, interesting. Bright, very bright, a little bass shy, I will say. You got to crank up the bass a bit. And it does have its own sound, which isn't immaculate, but it's pretty good. Quite good. So a decent effort. They tried. And it came off quite well, especially for the Joseph Suk, which I'm not really that familiar with a lot of his pieces here, but bright. Almost like sort of Mendelssohn, Mozart kind of feel to it. Schumann, kind of Dvorak kind of feel. Very nice, very pleasant. The piano quintets, both of them sound quite good and surprising in a great way. So really good. The Dvorak sounds bad. Sorry to say. I don't know. It was recorded somewhere else maybe, or just the strings are irritating, quite bad. So I don't know what happened with that, but that's only a small piece on the second side, which is a Terrazzetto Opus 74. But the side 1 and the beginning of side 2 is the Joseph Suck, and quite good, quite good. Oh, let's look at the label here. This one I would just say is near mint. It's not quite mint. It's a bit, yeah, no, not even near mint. Parts of it are. Anyway, this is what it looks like. It has the silver label with sort of a maroon. 1977 pressing, I should say. A solid effort. I will try another H&H record. You know, definitely. Try one out. It's cool. It's got Van Gogh on the front. So yeah, so that wraps it up for that. So yeah, thanks for watching till the end. Wow, it was a long one. Next video, I'm pretty sure we're going to get into some Japanese pressings. We got King Super Analog, some RCA Victor, some Toshiba. So yeah, we're going to go there.